welcome back to Sextras,
where we talk about sex and all the extras.
I'm Honey, and I'm on a quest to find gelatin-free jelly babies. I need them, I want them, and they don't exist. I even tried to email Maynard Bassett, and there was an issue with their email system, which I'm taking as a conspiracy against me to email them and ask them to make them vegetarian. So, yeah.
Well, if anyone has any information, then please get in contact with Honey.
Yeah, I'm gonna write an investigative journalist piece about Maynard Bassett and their conspiracy to stop my dreams coming true. So.
Well, hello guys, I'm Maria, and my fun fact is that I have 3 siblings.
Oh my
so
God.
Interesting.
This week we're going to talk about bisexuality. We have already talked about this before in several of our episodes. We talked about it with our guest Tori in the Bi Girl Experience episode. We talked about it in Falling in Love. We talked about it in Firsts. But we're going to talk specifically about the sexual orientation side of it today, rather than like falling in love or anything like that, because we just kind of wanted to like tell people our story and what our path to discovering our bisexual selves looked like.
Yeah, we just want to touch a little bit more on bisexuality as well. Like, obviously, as Honey said, we have mentioned some of these things before, but we haven't like really deep dived into what it's like to be bi and like coming out and finding out and all those lovely things that I'm sure all bi babies are going through, or like bi people that have gone through this will relate to, hopefully. And if not, if you're not bi and don't relate to this, well, I hope you will relate in some way. But if you're not bi, then at least like you'll sort of understand a little bit of what bi people kind of go through.
The myth and the legend of bisexuality.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of younger people probably don't really know what it looks like to like come to terms with, or not even come to terms with, just to know that you're a certain sexuality, regardless of if it's bi or anything, just trying to get to know what you're into. So we kind of wanted to just touch on that too.
Just a little shout out to like all our queer pals, especially like during the holidays. I know it can be a weird and scary time for a lot of queer people, especially, I don't know, just a little shout out to the queer community, LGBT peeps out there.
Yeah, we love you.
Yeah, stay safe during the holidays, and I guess everyone stay safe as always.
Yeah, we don't have a segment today, so I kind of just wanted to do our announcements at the very start of the episode, because no one really listens at the end of the episode. But if you guys want to see the segments that we post every other week, apart from this week, we post them on our Instagram at Sextras Podcast, and we just got our stickers in, which Maria designed, and we are starting a competition that the best segment submission of the week for like the episode that week, we're gonna post it obviously anonymously on our story on the Tuesday that the episode goes up on, and then you can DM us if you see the story, or if we know who it is, if you send it on Instagram, we'll DM you. And yeah, we'll send you a sticker if you want.
Yeah, so get submitting.
Yeah, I just wanted to announce that. And also, you don't have to submit it on Instagram. We usually do like the questions thing on our story, but you can also submit it. We have a link in our bio for like the anonymous submissions page, so you can also submit it through there. And yeah, we always appreciate you guys' submissions. We love reading them. And it would be great for us to get some more in the new year, because we want to continue doing the segments because we enjoy them and we know that you guys enjoy them too.
And also, if you guys know anyone or you yourself are interested in writing something for our blog that we want to release on the website, please get in contact with us. It can literally be anything. It can be a poem, short story, essay, like literally just a blog post, really informal, literally anything that could fall under the topic of sex, dating, relationships, self-love, like any of the lovely good things that we talk about in the podcast. We want to hear everyone's voices. We want to hear your poems, like all of those lovely things. So if you would be interested in writing something or know someone that maybe would be a great fit, then please get in contact with us, email us or DM us. It's all at sextruspodcast and it's at gmail.com if it's the email. So yeah, definitely get in touch.
Yes, definitely, please do. We want to like create a little community of just hearing about everyone's experiences and normalize talking about it, writing about it in whatever way floats your boat, really. And also, if you want to give us a Christmas present for the holidays, you can leave us a review.
Yes.
So those are my announcements for this week. Also, before we start the episode, because it's Christmas and we're talking about queer people, there's this guy on Instagram called, his account is JT Fastman, and he has a post of him being the queer Santa. And it's great. I would recommend everyone go check it out. So let's get into it. I guess, shall we start with like how we found out or how we realized we were bi, or that we liked girls as well as boys?
Sure, yeah.
So do you have a moment where you remember realizing that?
So I don't think that I don't have like a precise memory of hearing about being bi, but when I was around 13, I believe, I was on Tumblr and I became friends with this girl on Tumblr. And we became like besties, literally, like we were best friends. We were always texting. And at the time, she identified as a lesbian. So she was like my lesbian friend, you know, and she sort of introduced me to this, I don't know, the whole idea of liking girls and like it seeming like a normal thing. So after I kind of got talking to her and like normalized the whole idea of liking girls, I think something in my head was like, oh, maybe that's it. And like there's like things from my childhood and stuff that I remember that could point to me liking girls, but I don't think I ever like saw it as something that would happen to me, you know. It's like something that happened to other people. So yeah. So I think definitely like my relationship with this friend like really was key in me figuring it out, I think, because it really like normalized it and made it seem like, oh, it's just like when you like a boy, it's the same exact thing. So then I think in my mind it was like, oh, it's not just boys, like you can also like see girls in that way too. And then that's kind of what let me see it that way. So I think ever since I was like 13, 14, I kind of started like having crushes on girls and things like that, but to me it was never like super deep. It was just kind of something like, oh, okay, but it was never like, oh my god,
like a slow realization.
Yeah, but I think at the start it was a little bit confusing because it was kind of like, what? But then I think when I finally realized, like, and I heard the label bi and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I think that's it. Like, it was never like, yeah, I'm definitely fully into girls, and it was never like, I'm definitely fully into guys. It was more like, I was kind of scared at the start that maybe I was just like saying that I like girls for attention, and it wasn't really that, and I didn't really get it, and I was just doing it to like be different and whatever. I was scared for a while that I was just like an imposter and just pretending to be bi, to be different, but in the end, I don't know, I tried not to deep it that much, because I was kind of like, okay, and what if it is? Then like there's not really much you can do, like this is just what you're feeling in the moment. So I guess that's, yeah, I did have like a little bit of like internalized biphobia, and also just being like, nah, you're just lying and just doing it for attention. But I think I've come a long way since then. But what about you? How do you remember when you started being like, oh, maybe, or anything like that?
I think I've always kind of like found girls really attractive or just like appreciated them, but I think that's not uncommon of just straight girls as well, or like anyone. It's not a bi thing. But yeah, I guess it was mainly just from you like saying you were bi, and then I was started to think about it more, or we just started making more queer friends. So I think it was just more in my mind. And I also definitely had that thing of maybe I'm just doing this to like be like Maria, or like because I want to be cool, or I want to fit in. But I still have those thoughts all the time. I've come a long way, like you said, you have, but I still have those moments where I'm like, oh my god, am I even bi? Like maybe everything I'm saying is just made up, and would I even have sex with a girl? But I know that I would, but obviously it's just hard for me to imagine right now because I'm in a relationship with a guy. So yeah, it's all that like internalized biphobia that we love. But I really think it was just like from the people around me, kind of, I started to think about it more, and I didn't feel really like any pressure or like, oh, I have to come out. I just was like, yeah, I don't know, I kind of relate to the things everyone around me is saying, and I think that's how I feel too. Yeah, it was pretty easy, to be honest. I know so many people have way harder experiences coming to terms with it, but I think that just goes to show why having like a community of queer people is so important.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it kind of gives you some validation.
Yeah, I think I also didn't see it as a big deal, because I guess after coming out and stuff, other people were kind of in that with me. So I think that definitely like helped, having loads of people that were kind of going through the same thing and stuff, and you get to see it as something that isn't weird or like, I don't know, or other. It's just really normal and can be the exact same as like straight people, which I think when I was younger, I didn't see it as that. To me, it was like something really weird and different, and it was like, oh, what? I really don't get that. How?
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if this is true, but I kind of just thought of this. Like, I don't think bisexuality is really seen as a threatening sexuality to like the morality of society, if you get what I mean. Like, we kind of saw other people around us coming out, and how our community and the people we went to school with responded to it. And I guess we were more like approaching the age where we would have acted on any sexual urges or anything that we had, but it wasn't a massive deal because I guess we weren't acting on it in the same way. I didn't feel as if people thought that we were these alien creatures. I think bisexuality is kind of seen as a bit more of a joke.
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh, but it's not really real.
Yeah.
So, oh, it's just a phase. So it's not a big deal if you say this now.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And I think that's kind of just like how it's treated throughout your life anyway. So,
And to be fair, like I'll hold my hands up. Like, I'm also guilty of that, I reckon. Like, the amount of people that have well, no, I make it sound like it's a fucking like huge amount of people, but as in, like, there's been a few people that they'll be like, oh, I'm bi, and I'm like, yeah, sure, you know, like, I'm not out loud, and I would never like say it to their face, but like, you know, there's those people that in my head you're like, yeah, well, you're obviously just gay and you're just saying you're bi because you don't want to like fully commit, or like, yeah, well, you're obviously not bi, you're just like doing it for fun for a while, you know. And like, everyone has those thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's kind of bad, obviously, because you should take everyone at their word, and like, whatever anyone identifies as, like, that's just what it is. Like, you don't really have a say if you're not the person. And as we have said before, like, sexuality is it's something that like ebb and flows, like it changes, and it's not something that's stagnant. You don't have to come out as bi and always be 50% guys, 50% women forever for the rest of your life. Like, that's just how it is, and then nothing changes. Like, there's periods of your life that, like, sometimes I've been like, wait, am I even straight at all? Like, oh my god, this is like a huge farce. And there's periods of my life that I've been like, oh my god, do I even like girls at all? And both those thoughts kind of disgust me. I'm so glad I'm bi, but like, you are, in being bi, you are constantly like in between these two extremes, and it's like, sometimes it's hard to even accept for yourself, like, no, I'm always bi, like, I always like guys and I always like girls, and just because sometimes one is like more potent than the other or whatever, it doesn't like erase whatever. And if one day you were like, oh yeah, like, I'm really gay, and then the next day you're like, oh, I'm actually like quite straight, then it's like, okay, whatever, like, and it doesn't really change anything for anyone, so I don't really get why it's such a huge problem. But it can be super hard when you are like coming to terms with like finding that word and like finding that label and like coming out and all of those things. Like, it can be a huge anxiety, so I really like sympathize with anyone that is going through that or has gone through that at some point.
Yeah, I think for some reason straightness, heterosexuality, whatever you want to call it, is made out as this like ideal. It's like put on a pedestal, and that is, anyone who's straight, they're straight through and through, and they're like that's their whole identity, you know. And they would never dream of having a thought that strays from that heterosexual ideal. Everything they do is like devoted to the dick or like devoted to the pussy, you know. They wouldn't even dream of anything in between. But obviously that's not even the case for straight people. I think it's not just an issue with bisexuality, it's an issue with all sexualities, that we see everything as so binary. It can't just be a spectrum as it should be and as it is. Because, yeah, as Maria was saying, like, some days I'm literally like, yeah, I'm completely straight. And for the last, like, year or whatever, I've been in a relationship with a guy and I'm like, oh, but I'm straight. But obviously, I know I'm not. It's just kind of the way that you're programmed to look at things. And I think it's difficult as well because we were saying for straight people, there's very much this set formula of, like, what a straight person looks like or acts like. And the same kind of for gay people and lesbians, like there's camp, there's butch, there's femme, all these stereotypes or like tropes of being certain sexualities. But for bisexuality, there's not so much. There's just kind of like a mixture of the two. But then, as Maria was saying, like, oh, I don't want to be straight and I don't want to be gay, like, I am bi. But then how do you, like, there's just not really a set way of doing it. And I think also what you were saying about how you kind of don't take people seriously when they say they're bi. I think there's also a big problem with people do act like bi in the media and they kiss, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example of female celebrities or just like straight girls in general kissing other girls and being like, ooh, haha, it's so funny, like, I'm bi. Which I'm not saying they can't kiss other girls because they're straight, because that's literally going against what I just said. I'm just saying them kind of using it as this kind of way to attract guys' attention. I think that really diminishes when people are actually bi, because that is just perpetuating the idea that it's just a phase, or you're just doing it as like, it's just performative kind of to get who you really are attracted to's attention.
Yeah. And on the topic of straight girls as well, so many girls, like, there's this huge thing that like guys would never get with another guy. Even like a threesome with another guy is a bit too gay, you know what I mean? And like can never be in contact with another naked male in any kind of sexual situation in any way, shape or form. Whereas I feel like a lot of straight women would just shag a girl just for the lols, which is cool. Like, I'm glad that like women don't feel this, like, not all women, obviously, I'm generalizing a lot, but anyway, I'm glad that it's the case that they're not super like tight in their sexuality and all of this stuff as straight men typically are. Again, generalizations here, but it's like, stay with me. But at the same time, I think it can also be really harmful for people that are sort of like bi or gay, or know that like they're sure in themselves of their sexuality. And if these straight girls are coming and like experimenting with them and stuff, and like, there's nothing wrong with sleeping with a girl even if you don't intend to like call her the next day and like be best friends or like start dating or whatever. But I think that if you're straight and you know you're straight and you're just bi-curious and you're just like doing it for the night or whatever, like, always just kind of give that heads up. Don't go into things with other girls with them thinking that something could happen when that's not the case, because like there is this whole thing like in the queer community, like falling for straight men and straight woman syndrome, and like it is a thing and it fucks like gay people up, and I have been a victim of this, so you know, please beware of like the encounters you're having. Like, just be honest about where you're at and like what's going on. Don't make someone think that you're available in a way that you're not. And obviously, you know, what someone that you're just sleeping with everything, but in this case, I feel like that's kind of important information to have. If I am gonna eat your fucking pussy, I would rather know that you're not actually interested in women and it's just like a one-time thing.
Yeah, but it's also valid to obviously change your mind at any point, and also be flexible as well. I don't know, I think there's a lot of stigma around what is acceptable for bi people, because there are all these stereotypes of like not being able to commit, or they're greedy, or they just want everyone at once so they won't stay with me, or oh, they're dating me because I'm a guy, but then what if they see a girl that's really attractive? They're gonna like turn around and go shag her behind my back. Like, no. It's just about, just being aware of what you want and not lying to people and not lying to yourself. I think that's a big issue.
I have a question for you.
Yes, go for it.
So, as a bi person who, I don't know whether you one day want to sort of end up with someone, but do you not sometimes fear that you will miss the other experience, like the other genitalia, the other like energy, you know, the other gender?
I don't know if necessarily I want to end up with someone. Like, it's kind of hard for me to picture right now. But it's not something that I'm completely erasing as a possibility. I probably will end up with someone, because like most likely I will, you know. But at the moment it's hard for me to picture, and I would like to think that if I do end up with someone, it would be because like I truly love them and I wouldn't miss the other person, you know, like or the other gender or whatever it is. Because I don't know, I'm in a relationship with a guy right now, and I've only been in 2 relationships, one with a guy and one with a girl, but in neither of them have I really felt like, oh, I'm really missing out on something else. Because if that is how you feel,
I see, yeah,
why are you in the relationship? You know you want other things, so yeah.
Of course.
What about you?
I do completely, to be fair, agree with everything you said, and I do deep down know that at the end of the day, that is how I will feel in my soul, you know? I'll be like, yeah, well, I'm really happy with this person, so obviously I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. And I don't feel that now. But I think that, like, for instance, I know, at least in my mind, that when and if me and my boyfriend break up now, I'm only gonna date girls. At least I'm only gonna, like, seek out dating girls, at least for a while. And it's such a, like, stupid thing, because obviously you can't decide who you end up meeting and who you end up liking and falling in love with, whatever. But I'm like, I'm not gonna go date guys, I'm just gonna go date girls.
Yeah.
Because to me, it is so different to be with a guy than being with a girl, that, like, there is a part of me that is like, what if I just do miss it? And then, like, now that I've been with a guy for a while and I've had really good sex with guys, I'm like, I'm gonna miss dick if I go back to just dating girls. This is kind of crazy. Like, my life has kind of forever changed. Like, before dating a guy, I thought that I could never have dick and be fine forever.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of like, kind of reframe things, you know? I'm kind of gonna miss it. But obviously there's strap-ons, like all those things, which is also another thing I've never experienced, because in my relationship with a girl, we never tried a strap-on or sex toys, really. So it's like something I also want to try. I really want to know what it's like to be fucked by a strap-on, like by a girl with a strap-on, or like fuck a girl with a strap-on. I don't know, there's like loads of things and like specific experiences and little things that you can only really do with another girl, or like you can only really do with a guy, that it does kind of keep me up at night sometimes, because I definitely like do see myself ending up with someone. Like, I can't like read the future. I hope that I end up with someone forever. That's like kind of what I want. But it does scare me a little bit that I will miss it.
Do you not think that that's just like kind of how it is, though? Not even in terms of a bi thing, just like whoever you're with, you could be missing out on things with other people. You could have other things with other people.
Of course.
And I don't think that's what you're really focusing on when you're with someone and you're happy.
Well, I didn't really want to make it sound like I'm trying to make the case for like bi people not wanting to cheat. I promise, like, bi people are not more likely to cheat just because they miss like the other gender. Like, I just fucking expressed. That's not what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying.
I definitely don't think bi people are more likely to cheat. I just think that it is like a really weird fucking experience as a bi person. Like, you're kind of so lucky. And I know we've said this a million times, but I will drive it home.
You have so much choice. But then I think that gives you even more choice to find someone that you're truly happy with ending up with. And also, it doesn't, like, what if you end up with a gender non-conforming person? What would that be like? You're not going to be thinking about, you know? Because I think I can't see myself ending up with some straight, and I mean like straight guy who's like a frat guy, because I just don't want to be with someone who's very in your face masculinity all the time. Like, I want someone that has more depth to them than that.
Well, yeah, obviously. My boyfriend is pretty straight. Like, he's pretty straight. It's kind of embarrassing. Like, I was telling him the other day, like, I miss being gay. I was like, I'm kind of embarrassed by how straight I am nowadays. Like, it's actually embarrassing. And he was like, yeah, you're so straight. And I was like, yeah, we have to fix this. Like, I need to immerse myself back into gay life.
Yeah. It's kind of hard, though, because, like, what can you actually do? I don't know, because gay clubs are on, like, I mean, obviously no clubs are open, but like...
Yeah, but I miss being gay. It's like, it's such a struggle.
You're bi.
'Cause, like, I wish there was more of a, like, little in-between for bi people to live in, because I think when I was dating a girl, I could get way more involved in the gay things and felt way more in... I don't know, at one with my bi identity and like my gay identity, and I didn't feel like an imposter like getting involved. But now if I started being super keen in like LGBT events or like really keen about how bi I am, I would feel like I'm lying and like being kind of dumb.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because I feel completely like straight.
You're so immersed in straight culture.
Yeah, like the thing is my boyfriend, like, oh my god, like this is actually so bad.
You just do all those straight things together. Like, what? What do you do?
Well,
Like, go to football matches
well, no, but like,
together. Do you think you're worried about how he would perceive it if you started going and getting super involved in, like, gay activism? Do you think he'd be, like, worried? I'm not saying this is, like, anything wrong with your boyfriend. I'm just saying in general, in terms of bi people in relationships with the opposite, whatever that means, sex.
That's quite interesting, actually, because I think I genuinely just, like, it sounds like I'm saying it as a joke, but I think genuinely if I started getting super involved with the LGBT stuff, and, like, as involved as I was when I was dating a girl, I think I would just feel really uncomfortable, because I would think that literally all my friends and, like, everyone around me, including my boyfriend, would just be like, why is she trying to milk this so much? Like, it's a bit embarrassing, you know, like, because I'm in such a straight relationship and I'm so in the straight world that it's like, why are you, like, trying to make yourself into this minority when you're not, like, you're not even bi, you know? I genuinely would feel like that's what people thought for the last couple of years now, that nearly 2 years now that I've been in a straight relationship. Like, I have felt like that. I really don't feel like I'm part of the community at all, which is kind of really strange.
Yeah, I think because when you're in a relationship, like we as women in a relationship with men, you're expected to be straight passing than if you're in a relationship with a girl. You're not really expected to be, like, gay passing, because, like, you're not expected to, like, act super gay just because you're in a relationship with a girl. But I think because you're in a relationship with a guy, that is, like, how it is. But I was actually going to ask you, and then you, like, led me right into it perfectly. Do you think that being in a relationship with a guy kind of makes you act in a different way, or, like, present your gender in a different way? Like, you're way more feminine, or you're way more, like you're not just how you dress, but, like, your behavior as well.
Yeah, I think in the way I dress, no, which is kind of weird, actually. I think I'm just always the same, but I do think behaviorally, like, for sure. And I think, like, I've had a lot of people that date multiple genders and whatever talk about this kind of thing, that, like, with guys, especially girls have said this, like, with guys they'll be way more like like giggly and, like, swirling your hair and being all like, take care of me, and, like, you know, we'll like wait for him to make the first move and stuff, whereas, like, with women we'll be a lot more dominant in a way, I guess.
Yeah, we're just more equal.
I don't know, I find that for sure with girls. With girls, like, I feel a lot more equal and a lot more like I can make the first move or they can, like, it doesn't really matter. It's not really the same kind of thing. Even though with guys I'm also not super like that, but it is definitely, like, a noticeable thing that with girls I will be way more assuring and, you know, kind of, like, try to be more alpha in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas with guys it's, like, definitely, like, I feel like the beta.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think, yeah, no, definitely. But I think because with other girls, there's a lot more understanding. Obviously, we have the same kind of view or same kind of lived experience in the world as women. Like, that's just casual, everyday kind of sexism and stuff that you just have to, like, put up with, or stuff that you experience even if you don't put up with it. But with guys it's more, I don't know, I feel like there is this inequality, even if, because my boyfriend's very aware of feminist issues and I'm very in his face with it. Like, I will bring up the patriarchy at any given opportunity, which he always calls me out on. But even though he's very aware of it, there are still things that happen that I'm like, well, this is literally just happening because of inequality in our gender. And so I think you kind of do more naturally fall into those positions just because there is more of a set way for straight relationships to look.
Yeah.
Like traditionally the men have been more dominant, and so I think I do kind of just expect certain things and expect him to act a certain way as well, and I also expect him to make the first move or whatever. But I do try to be aware of those things because I don't like that dynamic.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like, I don't like any power imbalance. I wouldn't want that in any relationship with any gender.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel like I fall into being, now that I'm kind of thinking about it, I fall into sort of always being like the submissive one, but I just think that's just like me as a person. But I do definitely see like those patterns that you were like just talking about, just literally subconscious things that we just seem to do in the company of men and in relationships like this with men rather than with women. And not that related, but I guess segue into another thing that I really wanted to talk about is sort of whole sort of concept of virginity and how we were talking about when we first lost our virginities, or when we first really like let someone see our vagina or like see us naked.
yeah.
I feel like I remember a fear of, I obviously didn't want it to be like weird and smell bad and everything, like all the insecurities that people normally feel, but I remember not being as afraid as I've heard like experiences from young people now. And I don't know, I kind of started thinking a lot about like how grateful I actually am that I first got to sleep with a girl before I like, I don't know, took my clothes off in front of a guy. Not that it is this like it is this way for everyone, but I think that in having sex with a woman first and sort of like seeing another vagina in that kind of way and knowing that someone that has a vagina was like seeing mine, it relieved like so much of that like fear and anxiety and pressure, because I knew that it could never really be that bad, you know, because girls know, like they understand.
Yeah, it's just that level of understanding, as we were saying. There's not as much, not that I expect judgment from guys, but I think it's more fear of the unknown, because you don't know. They probably haven't seen a vagina before, so they might think it's weird. Obviously girls have seen their vagina, so it's not as weird for them.
Yeah, for sure. And then also a good thing to remember is that I think that I wasn't so scared because I knew that she wouldn't judge me because she'd seen one before, kind of thing. When in reality, like, it's not that I was judging hers because I'd seen mine. It looked completely different to my vagina. It was not really comparable. Same with, like, the first dick I saw. I wasn't being judgy because, first of all, it was the first dick I saw, so it's not like I could even compare it to anything. Plus, second of all, it's not like I even know anything about them. So if there was something, like, weird or lopsided about it, like, I wouldn't have been weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also even if there was... Like, even if now I saw a, like, lopsided dick, I still wouldn't be like, oh, I'm not having sex with you. I just wouldn't care.
Yeah, exactly. I
know?
think people get so into what other people are gonna, like, say about their body or think about their body, when literally most people are just, like, think about it. If you're thinking that, that person is thinking that. Therefore, literally what everyone is thinking about is, like, how insecure they are about their own bodies.
Yeah.
When they're not thinking about you at all. Like, as in, like, whether your body looks fucking gross or whatever. Because both vaginas and penises are beautiful.
Yeah. Like, a guy isn't gonna look at a vagina realistically and be like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if they do, then it's like, okay, well, you don't deserve to be having sex with me then, if that's what you care about. Yeah, we have a lot of unrealistic expectations of how our genitals are meant to look, which is just like crazy when you actually think about it, and it's all just because of porn. So yeah, I think everyone should be aware of the fact that everyone has different vaginas, and I actually have something that I want to post when we release this episode of different vaginas, and I think it's good for people to see all the different ways a vagina can look. So Yeah, and dicks too, obviously, but I don't have one for dicks, so maybe if someone finds one and wants to send it to us, we'll post it. But don't send us pictures of your dick. That's not an invitation. Please.
Yeah, and I'd be really interested to sort of hear a bi boy experience. I don't
Me
know,
too.
maybe they have a lot of struggles that are like kind of different, or a different perspective of these same struggles. So yeah, that would be really interesting. So if you're a bi boy, write to us and let us know.
Yeah, we would love to have you on and just kind of hear, because I know there's a whole other different set of stereotypes for bi men and just men in general, in terms of what you're supposed to uphold and like your masculinity and all that boring traditional stuff. So we would love to hear experiences.
For sure, we always want to hear everyone else's experience. So if you'd like to be a guest or would want to write on our blog or anything like that, definitely get in touch. And if you like the episode, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. Definitely let all your friends know. And keep an eye out for the competition that we mentioned earlier. And so yeah, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, everything at Sexist Podcast. Our email is at sexistpodcast@gmail.com. And our website is www.sexistpodcast.com. So go show us some love over there. But other than that, we will see you next week. Bye.
You've been listening to Sextras, presented by Honey Jane Wyatt and Maria Jose Hayodatiyi. Produced by Mabel Productions.